About a month ago, we were approached by a 42-year-old man with a facial disfigurement who claims he was denied entry to a restaurant because his physical appearance was scaring customers. After many attempts, we have not had a response from the restaurant. We've also followed it up with police, the council, trading standards, none of whom could actually help Oliver. But for him, this was never about a witch hunt against the business. However, he did want to share his story to raise awareness and ensure something like this never happens again. So here's Oliver explaining what happened to him.
I have a condition called neurofibromatosis, which is characterized by tumours that grow on the nerve endings. In many people, it causes disfigurement. I've had my eye removed because of the disfigurement that it caused me. At the time of the incident, I was undergoing a few minor procedures. On this particular day, I took myself out for lunch down to the local town centre, and I found what looked like a really nice place to eat, and I browsed the window and the food looked okay. And I went inside and I noticed that there was a sign that said cash only. So I went to draw some cash and I went back into the restaurant to place my order. And the gentleman behind the counter said, unfortunately, there's been some complaints about you. The way you look, you're scaring the customers. Please leave. Now, having lived with this condition for many years, I've often had people stare and take a bit of a step back when they've seen me, but I've never been treated in such an overtly discriminatory way as I did on that occasion. So they asked me to leave, and that was obviously very upsetting. The time that had lapsed between my first entry in the restaurant and the time when I went back after drawing the money was about 2 minutes. So I failed to understand how they thought that they could suggest that people had made complaints about me, because I hadn't been in there long enough and all I wanted to do was have a meal. But it was an affront to them, the way that I looked, and they asked me to leave.
So after that, what happened? Did you you left, presumably?
I mean, I was upset. I went to the local park and I collected my thoughts, and I called my wife and my mother, who are very, very supportive, and they came to my wife came to my rescue. She came and sat with me. She consoled me, and we worked on a plan of action as to how we would respond to that incident.
This was against the Equalities Act.
Absolutely. They had contravened the Equalities Act of 2010, and the police have classified it as a hate crime, and they've recorded the incident. I'm not too sure how much more is within their gift to act upon that, but it has been recorded and documented as a hate crime as far as the Metropolitan Police are concerned. And then I contacted your newspaper as well and asked if we followed up.
Because when I followed it up with not only the police, but also trading standards, the council, they all kind of said, it's terrible what's happened to Oliver, but there's nothing we can do, in not so many words. So after that, I was kind of shocked at not only what happened to you, it's a shocking incident on its own, but I was shocked that there was more that could be done instantly for you to report something like this and then get action on it. And I just think that there's other people. I mean, the condition is not even classified as rare anymore. There's enough people now in the UK that suffer from it.
There's about 1 to 2 and 3,500 people that do have this condition. People assume that there's something contagious, and just because of how it looks and how it presents. And I can understand why one might assume that, but it's obviously not a contagious illness. It's just, unfortunately, one that is disfiguring and more obvious than an illness that might be more hidden.
What is the right way to approach you in terms of, if someone doesn't know about the condition, if someone doesn't know if it's contagious or not, is it okay to ask?
I think there's two ways to approach it. I personally don't want to be reminded of it. I've had some really well-meaning people come up to me and say, if only you would try this lotion or this potion, it's going to cure your skin condition. And then again, you might be having a really good day and you might be feeling super super well and your self-esteem's back to, it reminds you, oh, look, you look, and I don't think it's okay to ask those questions. However, there are some people that are genuinely interested and they might say, is it okay if I ask you a little bit about it? But I don't think it's okay to be drawing attention to it personally. If you normalize somebody in a wheelchair, you don't go up and ask them why you're in a wheelchair. You just accept them for who they are. Why is it any different?
Do you think there's a hole in the system a little bit here where people who are discriminated against, what are they supposed to do in these instances?
I think it's often a case of, well, if we have this condition and we are treated in a similar manner in which I was treated, that you just have to grin and bear it. There doesn't seem to be any mechanisms in place, and there certainly seems to be a gap where something should be done about people being so overtly discriminated against. It's maybe there are mechanisms, but I'm certainly not aware of any. The Metropolitan Police did tell me that with all the best will in the world, they couldn't take it further other than just documenting it and giving me a case number. So it feels like there's not many options available to people that might be in a similar situation going forward. It was suggested by someone to me that you might want to reenact the situation, hidden camera, hidden mic, but that feels a bit more like entrapment to me, and I'm not too sure that I would, feel comfortable doing that, but that might be something that someone else might feel comfortable doing. Neurofibromatosis is congenital, so you get it from a parent, 50-50 chance that you can get it from a parent, or it might just occur spontaneously. How the illness works is it causes tumours to grow on the nerve endings. So you have these little subcutaneous tumours, and these can grossly affect your body all over. It can cause disfigurement. Some people have learning disabilities. Some people are divergent. So it affects everybody differently. For me, it's probably affected me mostly by the presentation of tumours throughout my body and a disfigurement of the face. I had a big, what they call plexiform tumour, and that eroded my right eye, so that had to be removed. And the plastic surgeons and neurosurgeons and maxillofacial surgeons helped to reshape and to provide a bit more of a cosmetic look.
And is it ever cancerous? Are they ever dangerous?
There are occasions where it can become cancerous. On the whole, it's benign. The benign tumours can become cancerous, but that's very rare.
I really hope we can raise awareness of this. Obviously, it's a terrible, terrible situation to have happened to you, and I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, that this happened to you.
I've got no grudge against them. I'm not wanting to name and shame them. I don't want any form of retribution. I was angry at the time, but let's try and prevent it from happening again.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really noble that you've decided to share your story, and thank you so much, Ollie.
Thank you very much for listening.
For more information on neurofibromatosis and other similar conditions, or if you're a sufferer yourself and need help and advice, please visit nervetumours.org.uk. And to read the full news story, go to the link in the description.